Welcome to Moonbase 2.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Moonbase 2 podcast. My name is Andy, Corporate Commander TFW, and I'm joined here once again, as we do every single week, by my little Mikey. It's Mikey G Wolf V3. Hello, Mikey.
My little Mikey, he's watching you from the shower.
Hang on, am I in the shower or are you in the shower?
Don't worry about it.
Aw, we're not talking about fate though, Mikey. I'm asking about creepy stalker things.
Are you sure you're not talking about Fate?
It depends which one. That one's very specific on which one we're talking about, I suppose. But yeah, we're here to talk about Transformers this week, everybody. Hooray! We did a podcast this week. We did record a woo-woo as well, which will be going up at some point, I guess this week.
Presumably.
Yeah, presumably, unless something horrible happens, which I hope it doesn't.
Like the French.
Well, you know. They're just a constant horrible thing.
I thought you were going to say they were just a concept.
Well, maybe. Maybe the French aren't real.
Really exist.
Yeah, they only exist because people believe they exist. If people stop believing, they just vanish one day.
France just, disappears every time you stare at it. Does France exist if there's no one around to hear it?
Oh, there you go. Isn't that every country?
No,
maybe there's
France.
only, a few people who are actually real, and the entire world's based on their perception of reality.
I think that's a thought experiment, isn't it?
I don't know, maybe.
Quite a aren't we all a projection of, isn't the universe a projection of something or something?
Isn't that terrible, though? Because all the terrible things that happen in the world are to individuals, and you're like, it's some asshole doing it. What an ass. But here,
in the Matrix.
This week, we're going to start off with some crappy news, as we usually do. Or, well, when it's available. And we're going to be looking at Beeline Creative, who I don't know about, but they're doing the Transformers geeky Tikis. How smart. These are little plastic Tiki mugs in the shape of yours and my favorites, Bumblebee and Optimus Prime. Yay!
Yeah.
Optimus Prime comes in his iconic blue color, and Bumblebee comes in yellow. They're also shown next to a Scooby-Doo as well. Excuse me. They are designed so it's not just Optimus Prime. It is made to kind of look like it's meant to be wood-ish.
Yeah,
it's got wood
semi-carved.
Yes. It kind of
which
works.
Has given it's too symmetrical for one thing, but it's given Optimus weird nipples.
Oh, it has, yeah, because they're trying to do the Tiki pattern design, but like you say, they put it on his nips for some reason. Out of the lineup, there's Bumblebee, Optimus Prime, Scooby-Doo, Shaggy, who looks like he's seen some shit, Skeletor, and He-Man. I would say, personally, the Skeletor one is the coolest one.
It looks the most fun.
Yeah. He-Man's a bit weird.
What's wrong with Bumblebee?
Not as much as Shaggy.
They both seem like they were in the same movie.
Yeah, Bumblebee's grimacing quite a bit. And he seems to have... I know it's meant to be the wood effect, but it makes it like he's got a little line underneath his eye going directly down, so it looks like a scar.
Yeah, but what really gets me about Bumblebee is So Shaggy, he's got an asymmetrical mouth, giving it's like he's bringing his bottom lip up. Bumblebee, to give that impression, they just have a big square that is blocking off most of his bottom teeth.
He does look very, very angry because of it.
I mean, I would be.
Why? Because they've removed your teeth.
Or giving you a weird mouth guard that you didn't ask for.
Well, that's fair. Maybe it's just meant to be his tongue.
Weirdly happy.
Whereas... He does, yeah. He's got the upturned eyes, doesn't he? Yeah, you're quite right. Yeah. Wow. I would say these are terrible. These are things you would, I guess, expect to find at I don't know, a rock concert, or maybe if you're walking around Universal Studios or something like that. They're a little bit more expensive than what I would imagine. They're apparently coming out in October. They're going for $24.99 US. While these newfound Tiki mugs share the same design and colors as the aforementioned products.
Okay, so these are mass market versions of previously announced Tiki mugs?
Okay, I guess that's the thing. They're made to be... Oh, so the other previous ones were $24.99. These ones, being plastic ones, are $12.95. So they're about half the price, give or take.
Right.
So that's a little better. It's still $12.99, $12.95. A little bit much.
A little bit much.
But there you go. We've talked about much, much worse on the show before, so it's not too bad. They're all right. Like I say, I would probably aim more for the Skeletor.
Yeah, if you had to, kind of thing.
It's a strange collection. Transformers, Scooby-Doo, and He-Man.
Yeah, do you remember the 80s, basically?
But it's like, well, Scooby-Doo's not really even the 80s.
There was Scooby-Doo in the 80s, Andy.
No, I mean, there's been Scooby-Doo for years.
But, like, believe me, it's not being picked... It's being picked in there because it was a big cartoon that people watched in the 80s.
I guess. I think there were other ones you could go for.
Well, I'm trying to think what would be a good one.
G.I. Joe would also make sense because you already have a license from Hasbro.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to think which are the biggest cultural milestone ones. And Scooby-Doo's ridiculously big.
So. Oh yeah, well yeah, of course. I mean, it came around in the 60s, so yeah. I wouldn't say it was that big in the 80s. It was on TV, but it was mainly like reruns or a pup named Scooby-Doo. Oh no, that was 90s, wasn't it? Oh no,
you're thinking 90s. No, you're thinking 90s.
Which one was in the 80s then?
Oh God, which
that was definitely like we were well into the Scrappy era at that point.
Oh well, Scrappy showed up fairly early.
Yeah.
Okay, so Scooby started in 1969 and ran. Okay, so originally broadcast 69 to 76.
Mm-hmm.
In the 80s, you had the Scooby-Doo show.
Okay, is that new? That's just more Scooby-Doo, right?
Scooby's All-Star Laugh Olympics.
Oh, I really liked that show. That was where they got all the Hanna-Barbera people into 3 different teams and they played sports against each other. That was pretty good.
Yep. You then had the Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo show. The Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo shorts. The new Scooby and Scrappy-Doo show.
Oh my God.
The 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo.
Oh, that was the 80s. Oh, I thought that was 90s.
And a pup named Scooby-Doo, 1988.
Huh. So I was right. It was in the 80s, but barely.
In 87, there was they went into reruns and started doing short movies and reboots.
Wow. I didn't realize there was that much new Scooby-Doo during the 80s. That's like a lot, actually.
Sounds like it was actually the main one. Like
I guess.
Just going. Yeah, new Scooby, like 80. There was basically a new Scooby-Doo show.
Mm-hmm.
Every year. Until 1985.
Wow. Well, Mikey, do you want to take us on to the actual bit of first Transformers news then, which is third party in nature?
No, I want to talk about Scooby-Doo. And why Mystery Incorporated was a really bad show.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a different take.
I can actually hear the outrage.
I've just got my pen ready to edit things out.
You never edit anything anymore, Andy. But
Mikey, that's so untrue.
So Kang Toys have revealed the new images of CY Mini 01 Firmament. So previously they've done Masterpiece scale stylized Predacons, but they did let us know that they were going to be doing Legend scale versions of the same design. So this is essentially the larger design scaled down. In some ways this works actually quite well, in some ways not so much.
We don't have a comparison shot, do we, between the small one and the big one? That's a shame.
Yeah, seems to come with a big sword.
Yeah.
Or if that's like a composite from like the different ones that they're going to have, actually might make more sense. But apparently he can use it as a surfboard. But yeah, he comes with a gun, a big gun, a sword, which will fuse with other swords to make a Predaking sword.
And a gun of guns as well. Looks like that's all made of guns as well, as is the way.
Wings, which I can only describe as very Gundam Freedom.
I was actually thinking more like a previous Deathsaurus third-party toys that we've seen before.
I think it's just that very particular fan.
Yeah, it's like sharp bird knife wing, I suppose.
Yeah, he looks pretty posable. We see his arm mode. The only thing I don't particularly care for him is the design on the bird head.
Yeah, it kind of gets a little. I don't know whether it's the photos, but it looks like a Firo. That's the head design.
Yeah,
it's weird.
It does, actually.
Yeah. I was trying to think of a real bird, and I was like, I don't know fucking birds, so I'm not going to bother.
Fucking
Firo.
bird. And we all get Firo, and even if you don't admit it, you get Firo. What do you think, Andy?
I'm not fond of the translucent wings, especially in the color that they are, because they're almost in a prototype mode color. They're translucent beige is how I would describe it. Not yellow or gold or anything like that. Translucent beige, which is, again, like I say, the color that you'd expect to see on a prototype figure. And because it's such a big part of the figure, having kind of an ugly colored wing set, not very good. He's very, very red as well in robot mode. It gives me more of the vibe from the... Oh, what's it? Do you remember, Mikey, the Beast Hunters specific beast dinosaurs that you could get? Do you remember the one that was a chicken dinosaur thing?
Oh.
From Transformers Prime Beast Hunters.
Could it fly?
It couldn't fly. It didn't have wings.
Oh,
it had like two big front legs.
Razor something.
Yeah, his primary color scheme was red and yellow, and maybe a bit of purple as well. And this gives me the same feel of the color scheme, like where the red is, where the yellow is. It doesn't scream dive bomb, but it is different, so I can give it that.
One thing,
I can surf on the sword. That's cute.
Yeah, I found the original design for the larger figure, and it's not the same design, which I find very surprising.
Oh, it's not. Oh no, it's not. You're right. Oh, I thought it was just going to be the same. Huh.
Yeah, so did I.
It still has, I guess it still has elements that are similar. Like I guess the idea of the color placement is kind of similar. Like it's a really deep red. The head on this thing looks a bit more like a duck. Like an angry duck. This is actually, it's just as well you showed me this. Because his head mode for this version that we're talking about, the mini version, he doesn't have the dive bomb head. He doesn't have his face inside a bird head. It's just a normal robot head. While the bigger version does have the head inside of another head, I think, doesn't it? Oh no, it looks like you can have it inside of a bird head, but you don't have to.
Okay.
So, no, it's I don't know. It's a different design, so I'll give it credit for being different. I think it's mainly the colours that aren't really selling me on it. I think you slapped on some different colours, or you messed around with the colour placement, and you sorted out the wings specifically. That would definitely help a lot.
Yeah. I'm concerned about the amount of clear plastic on this.
That too. Yeah.
I like the bigger toy better as a design.
Sure.
I think this works fairly well, and I obviously super pleased to see some stylization or something like that. Just like some of this doesn't feel like it quite scaled down. Like those wings are too massive.
They are very big. Yeah,
and like the fact that like it's one thing in the larger one because like you can furl them around him like a cloak, and like I think their shape as well really work for like a big flared sort of like halo kind of thing. But they're the very noticeable. These don't look natural to me. They look like they're from a different toy almost. Because I think it's because there's very little like, and maybe it's just because the materials are so different. You know.
Okay.
But yeah, it's one of those things where I like the idea of it. I'm just not in love with the toy itself. I'll be curious to see how the other ones turn out because their takes on the sort of standard, more animalistic ones, they were very Zoid inspired. So I'm curious to see what these like redesigned ones will look like. But no, I think listen, creativity, gotta love it.
Yeah, it's different. That's always a plus.
Yeah, Andy, do you want to take us on to some Iron Factory?
Yes, let me tell you about two things that we saw, but I think are based off one mold, at least one mold idea. We have the Iron... Actually, we'll start off with the less important one, but it's technically the high number one. It's the Iron Factory IFEX-49P, which is the Last Prophet, a.k.a. Legend Scaled Alpha Trion. Yay! And there aren't many Alphatrons out there, so this is Iron Factory's small version.
Small.
So we see images of him in both modes, obviously. He also has a staff that contains the Matrix, which is somewhat important to the world of Transformers. He actually seems to turn into a vehicle, at least to my basic eyes, similar to Scourge. I think
believe
this
he's
is
a
just Scourge, right?
He's a retool of Scourge, as far as I know.
Yeah, I think you're right. How do you think he's came out? He's got pointy shoes.
He's okay. This is where I sadly reveal I've never liked anything about it, Alphatron's aesthetic, and y'all need to deal with that. But I think he turned out okay.
Do you really think there are a lot of Alphatron stands out there who are like, no, his designs were amazing in the G1 cartoon?
Let me put it this way: are there people who love the G1 cartoon and say it's the best show they've ever seen?
Oh.
There we go.
You know what would have made that worse if you said, are there people out there who love Thor Ragnarok? And I would have had the exact same reaction.
Yep. Yeah, it's Jurassic Park 3's 20th anniversary.
I'll take it over too. You know what? I might actually take Jurassic Park 3 over Jurassic World.
Oh, you go to fucking hell. Would. You go to hell and you die.
I think I probably would. I don't like
you
Jurassic
go to
World.
fucking hell. It is such a fucking terrible movie.
Yeah, it's funny though.
I fucking despise it. That's not funny. That's idiotic.
They just turn around and he's standing there looking at them.
Fucking dumb.
I'm gonna take these eggs. I hope the Raptors don't come after us.
You go for one of the smartest franchises in its genre, and you make it one of the fucking stupidest.
Oh
God! It was when like we need to make money. We need to make a movie because we've got a franchise hit Jurassic Park.
Mm-hmm.
And I fucking despise it.
And yet you like Jurassic World?
Jurassic
I
World
don't know.
is 20 times better. It's much better.
I guess it knows what it is more.
Jurassic
it knows
World
that it's just a roller coaster.
It's a modern day blockbuster, and that's all a Jurassic Park movie would be in the modern climate. And I find it entertaining and fun, and I think it got the balance. I like the aesthetic. I like the villain monster. I just have fun with it. I think it's competently put together. I'm interested in Dominion because it's got the same creative team on it.
So what are you saying, Mikey? Is it's Independence Day?
No, Independence Day is bad. You can enjoy bad movies. Jurassic World is decent. It's not amazing, but it's decent. It's better than most of the Marvel movies that have come out in the last 5 years. Which is not a high bar in our opinion, but that's still better than most of the Marvel movies that have come out in the last 5 years.
I don't know, bro.
Yes.
Jurassic World's pretty dumb.
No, it's not compared to like the average blockbuster today. Actually,
it's still like just comparing it to today's movies. It's still pretty dumb.
All I'm going to say is you're wrong, and the fact you're doing this to hurt me is insulting. But I'm not incapable of saying they're bad. Fallen Kingdom, bad movie, just bad.
I won't admit that I have a vested interest in hurting you.
Fallen Kingdom, bad. Jurassic Park 3, the worst film in the fucking franchise and one of my least favorite movies of all fucking time. Jurassic World, perfectly competent, very enjoyable. I love the ending. Yeah. Independence Day, garbage. Alphatron's fine. Move on.
All right. Well, there's also the Iron Factory IF EX-47 Void Tyrant, which I think we've talked about at one point years and years ago, probably in Proto.
We saw him in a group shot with all those like Iron Factory TV announced ones, which included stuff like the Samurais and the Starscream Girl and whatnot.
Yeah, I thought at the very least I'd said the words of Void Tyrant in relation to Iron Factory at some point in the past, and I guess this is it. He coming, boys! Oh Lord, he coming! No, he is not Marvel version. He is, your stereotypical Galvatron.
Yeah, a bit of Spotlight Galvatron's design thrown in there in terms of like the proportions and aesthetic. But
yes, I would agree with that. He comes with 2 accessories. He comes with his signature orange cannon, as well as an axe, which totally isn't inspired by the IDW version.
Nope, no axes. Axes are for other people.
Exactly. He turns loosely into a cannon. As all Galvatrons tend to do.
I like how... I would say he turns looser than most.
I think that is fair to say. Especially since I can see his hands in cannon mode.
Well, his arms transformation seems to be... Just don't look behind.
Just don't look.
Don't look there. Just don't look there.
I think in robot mode, Galvatron looks really good. I think in cannon mode, it's very much it's pretty bad.
Yeah,
it's pretty bad. Like they take the which version was it that did this? Where you swung the shoulders and like a third of the chest down.
God,
there were Galvatrons that have done that, but they don't really do anything with that. It's just a way to slightly lift up the cannon part of where the chest and the cannon connection goes. But it doesn't really do a huge amount. Like I say, the hands really don't do a huge amount. The tracks on the back of his arms seem to just stay where they are. And I'm guessing from the leg design, it looks like you just kind of turn them so the knees are facing outwards and then kind of lift them together and then push them together, and that's it. That seems to pretty much be the transformation.
Move. Yeah, and that's really disappointing, on all honesty, because like they very much prioritize the robot mode. They've got lots of cool stuff with the robot mode. It's a nice take.
Oh yeah.
But it's not just like it is so slap fucking dash. It doesn't
seems like it.
Like this isn't a transformation. This is like really bad. Like you could have done something with the arms. Like just have them on a double joint and fold them up so that they can like pretend they're a pod. Like I really don't like the transformation aspect of this. I think the robot mode looks really cool, but
it's weird. I'm sure in Factory have done better in the past. I don't know whether it's just because of the constraints of trying to make this design for a Galvatron and then also make him into a cannon, which has always been a little bit on a squint your eyes and hope for the best kind of feel. But I mean, there's some third-party masterpiece scale toys that have done it fantastically. Granted, very, very different scales.
Yes.
But I don't think this is a great example of a transforming Galvatron, but a really good example, at least, of a posable Galvatron. I'll give it that. So this is one of the... I'll take the robot mode, and the cannon mode can kind of go in the bin, I suppose. I think Alpha Trion's got a better vehicle mode, and that's a bit on the squint your eyes kind of level as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and Alpha Trion's like a retool of another mold, so it's like Alpha Trion's doesn't really come together very well because it's trying to do the same thing as another toy it doesn't share a lot of parts with.
I guess it's the problem when you're trying to do an Alpha Trion and you just like, well, he didn't transform into anything, so let's just try and get the robot silhouette down, and then he can be anything we want him to be. I think someone needs to just be like, this is what Alpha Trion needs to be now. And just go, he transforms into this shape. Like, oh, crap, what's his, I was going to call him Bill O'Reilly. He wasn't the guy that designed Transformers, was he?
No, Bill O'Reilly was a Fox News talk show host.
Yeah, it wasn't Shane Dawson either. So who's the guy that...
John Warden?
No. Who's the guy that took the toy
Aaron
designs
Archer?
and made... No, the toy designs and made them into the cartoon designs?
Flint Dilley.
I thought he was just a writer.
No, not Flint Dilley. Oh, Flower Dairy.
That's it. Yeah. See, you almost did me. But
no
not as extreme. Yeah, but
the only way to do you is to like Independence Day and Jurassic Park 3.
Hell yeah. Good times.
Go down.
And other films too. But yeah, Flora
You're allowed not go to films, but I'm just go to say you're evil.
I think I'll have more defenders on my side than yours, to be fair. At least out of our friend group.
Oh, yeah, because we have such a discerning friend group when it comes to taste.
You've heard it, the friends. Mikey
Nicole.
said your taste is trash.
Hey, Nicole. Should we have this conversation with her?
We should get you to have this conversation with Abby as well.
She can take that cat and stick it.
But yeah, not great Galvatron. Not very, kind of mediocre Alpha Trion. Someone needs to hammer down a design for what Alpha Trion transforms into and say this is what he does now and forever. And maybe we can get some better Alpha Trion toys. That would be nice.
It's really depressing in a way how many Alpha Trion designs are so clearly like, we've designed a robot mode with no thought of an alt mode. And it's so weird to me. Like, if you actually think about the different Alpha Trion toys we've had, just the toys, let alone the show designs for stuff. Like, let alone think of like the Prime one, which was just like Alpha Trion with shoulder pads, or animated, which was Alpha Trion in animated. But
I'm
like
a bit more forgiving of like the original versions of them, which was Bokon. It's like Bokon could only do so much.
yeah, they
Fair
did.
enough.
They did Pirate. Yeah, but they did Pirate Lion, which turned out not to be. Which they then said was actually Cheetor.
Yeah,
For some god awful reason.
There were some bad choices, but at least you can go. You know, they were not an official company.
Yeah, the best.
And Hasbro has done some, and you I think with that you go, okay, Alphatron's a bit of a hard sell to kids, but I think we gotta be a little bit more harsh on third party.
Like, if I'm actually just looking at it, like the BotCon Timelines or BotCon did the Vector Sigma one.
Yes, that was actually not bad. That was pretty good.
Almost worked. That head is way too small. But
agreed, but yes.
In terms of actual official, like, Hasbro releases of a transforming action figure, the only one they've done is the Titans Return one.
Oh. And that's not great.
The Unicorn Lion.
Yeah.
That didn't look good in any mode.
No. Who was that? Was that originally Alphatron? Or was that originally... that's right. And then they made him a line.
It was a pre-tool. So
that's right.
They had a design for a broadside, and then they released it first as Alphatron.
That's right. Yeah, and then they made it into Leo Prime as well, which is also pretty bad. It's like, wow. Yeah. All right. Well, there you go, Mikey. Do you want to take us on to the next bit of news?
Yeah. I suppose this crossover with Japanese news.
Yes.
In that HasCon has been announced, or HasPulseCon, or HasLab PulseCon for this year. But that wasn't really the interesting part. The interesting part was that they've announced, or teased rather, the next HasLab project with a very simple thing, which was the Transformers Victory logo. Rumors are abounding, shall we say. Very little to do with it. It will be a HasLab project, so it's probably going to be something fairly expensive. Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly a little surprised there is another HasLab Transformers project. I kind of thought, considering that Unicron barely managed it, and actually didn't manage it the first time, they had to redo the entire fucking thing.
Yeah, that's right.
They had to basically say, like, oh, it's only going until this time. Well, no, actually it's going further. Because you didn't get enough of you. Yeah, I'm curious. Obviously, the main theory is Star Saber. And people are saying, like, probably Commander class figure with a Victory Leo to make Victory Saber, which people seem weirdly excited about. Because let's be honest, Victory Saber is one of the least exciting combinations they've ever had in the franchise.
Yeah, and it's not even a good Brave combination.
Nope. It is a backpack and some big boots.
Yeah. To be fair, big boots did become a staple of things, I suppose.
I was going to say it's a bad Sentai combination.
Yeah.
I heard Star Saber and was surprised by how unexcited I was by the idea. Again, it hadn't been confirmed, but because Masterpiece Star Saber, he's a solid enough toy, flawed, but it's a masterpiece toy and made in the last 6 years, so flaws are kind of part of it.
Sure.
But he's a decent toy. He's not that old. 6 years I don't find super old.
No, is he only 6 years?
Yeah, but I can see, like, people would say, like, oh, we're going to get this is kind of like doing a new version of the Masterpiece, but based on Unicron, this will probably be more like a retail figure.
Yeah, but an expensive one, right?
Yeah, and Unicron, for anyone who doesn't know, Unicron is a big retail figure. He's not a Masterpiece figure.
Granted, a very, very, very big one.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And, like, Victory Leo on top of that, cool, but not getting me excited. I'm just thinking, like, if you're going to do it, I'd rather it at Saurus, obviously, but like,
oh yeah,
for a HasLab project where like $200, $300, $400 project, I mean, go nuts. Do Dino King with actual shells. Do a fully functional Lio Kaiser and with a Death Cobra.
You know who I'm going to suggest, Mikey?
Galaxy Shuttle.
No, come on, Mikey. Who am I going to suggest?
A life-size Jan.
No, why would I ever suggest that? No,
Esmeralda.
Mikey. They need to not be cowards, Mikey.
The Dino Force babies.
They need to do Violent Jiger.
That's not in Victory, Andy.
It's time to do Violent Jiger, baby. It's time. Do it. You did Unicron, Violent Jiger. That's a character who you go, okay, it's not Victory. It's nearish Victory. It's Victory adjacent, basically. Let's be fair. But there's a character who we've never had a figure of.
True.
And who is not ever going to sell at retail.
That is
gonna
also
have
true.
And who has a very small market appeal.
That is also true.
Is that not what the collector thing should be?
I think they also have to be able to get a few thousand backers.
That's also fair. That's why you also put it out there, put out the feelers and say, we'll do Violent Jiger. These are the design concepts. What do you think? And if people don't vote it, like they did Unicron, until Unicron was pushed through eventually regardless, well, there you go. You know? I'm just saying, like, it would be nice to have something a bit different, because I still feel that Starsaber could sell at retail.
Oh,
There's
well,
no
he nearly
reason
did.
why he couldn't.
The only reason, he nearly did when we were doing Power of the Prime.
Yeah.
I like a lot of podcasts I've been listening to, because I was curious about this, seem to have taken the action of, is Victory really, really well enough known in the fandom, or liked enough in the fandom, or would these designs really, make it onto main shelves? And I have to admit, I find that a very strange argument, because yes, the Victory is extremely well known. Starsaber is very well known as a design.
In the fandom, at least, sure,
yeah. And plenty of toys have made it onto retail shelves and sold well that were not Optimus Prime and Bumblebee. And basically, as long as you sell a cool-looking Transformers toy, people will buy it.
Yeah.
To be blunt, the only reason we haven't had something like Starsaber or Detsaurus as a mainline figure is probably corporate.
I think there's probably a lot of people as well in Hasbro who probably throw around that idea of, do people know them well enough? Do people care about them? Yeah, but without actually looking. I think I could see business people saying that kind of stuff. Oh,
absolutely. That's what I mean. The corporate side of Hasbro would be okay, does this have the market appeal? And okay, what would this character get if we polled them or something like that? And I'd be kind of it's well documented. All you have to look at how well Cybertron sold.
Yeah, because wasn't the who was his name, Wing Saber from Energon?
Yeah,
he's pretty much Star Saber in a lot of ways. He sold pretty well.
Yeah, and he was a bad toy.
Oh yeah. To be fair, he was better than what Energon Prime had originally. You know,
true.
He made that toy better, but yeah, it still wasn't great.
Low bar.
What you can get with that Energon Prime, Mikey.
Yeah, but yeah, Starsaber, you could just do him mass retail, and that is something about HasLab. Mass retail is very much a thing, and some people have been saying well, if the Cookie Monster failed, could you risk something like a Victory character?
Wasn't the Cookie Monster a full-sized
puppet?
Not puppet. Oh, it was a puppet as well?
I believe it was a puppet, yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was meant to be, in quotations, real Cookie Monster, as in no puppet hole. But I know he was meant to be big. It's that's the reason why he's not retail, because he's fucking huge. And Unicron, that's fucking huge. Jabba's Palace Barge, fucking huge. There's no way you could sell the Jabba's Slave Barge at Toys R Us. Because it's the Razor. It's too giant.
They did the Razor Crest though from Mandalorian, and I would have thought that would sell at retail.
The what?
Mandalorian ship.
Oh, okay, all right. I had no idea what that thing was called. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I would have expected him to be able to sell that, but it was big.
I would
and
so.
Something as well. At least when it comes to size, that's why I always think with HasLab it's about size. Retailers are nervous about stocking big figures.
Yeah, for good reason. You can if you're stocking big things that are Lego, that's gonna shift because it's Lego, and people are nutty for Lego. Transformers wise, I think that's a bit of a harder sell. So yeah, the Unicron does make sense. If it, like you say, we're doing a retail sized Starsaber, and there's no reason to not do him retail sized. There's no reason to make him Unicron sized or bigger. That would really be a why. Why are we doing it? Then don't bother. You know. Wasn't there an image of them doing a Galactus as well, a new Galactus, which is Unicron scale?
Think that's Marvel Legends, but I don't know if that's HasLab or retail.
I thought that was HasLab.
Let's see.
I might be wrong. But I'm pretty sure they might be doing it because it's it's another giant figure.
No, this is This is being sold as a standard figure, 400.
Oh, is it expensive? But okay.
Oh no. Do you know what? I tell a lie. I think it is actually a HasLab, because I think when I clicked on there, I just saw HasLab come up. Hasbro Pulse. Yep. It's got a funding. Currently, target is 14,000 backers. Currently at 8,000. 43 days left.
All right. Well, there we go. Yeah, It's another big figure.
Limit of 5 per person.
Oh. Okay. Cool. How about just one per person? Maybe two.
No, because then one retailers can't. Well, retailers could just put in a lot of different orders. And also, how will the scalpers manage?
Well, isn't that the question, I guess?
So, if HasLab is big scale figures, that would be another reason in my mind to do a combiner.
Yeah. Like if you did, like you say, the Dino Force or the Breast Force, to a much, much lesser extent, the Mac Tackle Dash.
The Multi-Force.
Nipple. Yeah, that's them, thank you.
Line
Cross.
You could Road Caesar as well, but I've never found Road Caesar's design exciting. So it's.
I'm not a fan of the Land Cross, but again, it would make sense to do them for that. Well, that's 5 figures. The other one's like 3 figures. Well, you got 5 or 6 again. You got 6 again with the Dino Force.
Well, with the
that
Dino
makes
Force,
sense.
you could actually do like 6 and 6, so you could get 12. So you wouldn't even have to do you could do Voyagers or something at that scale.
Yeah, potential. I don't think they would, but I could. You might be right. Yeah,
because you could do instead of having to do a much larger figure, you could just do here's 6 Voyagers and here's 6 shells.
Well, you'd hope so, but maybe they just want to make smaller goals. Maybe that's the idea. Maybe they want to have smaller figures for the HasLab stuff, so it's not as risky, but it's more lame. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not happy with the idea of that, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Yeah. What else was there, Mr. Mikey? Do you want me to take the next story?
Well, it's your turn, I suppose. So.
All right. Well, Mr. Mikey, this is a quick little story. It's more of an update to what we talked about last week, which was the Generations Deluxe Covert Agent Ravage and the Micromaster. Why are they calling it a Micromaster? It's not a Micromaster.
Because that's the name they're marketing.
But that's not what it is. It's the G1 Ravage. It's that 2-pack that we talked about. We basically got a blurb, so I can read you a blurb about what it is. Its availability, it's coming out November 1st, 2021. Its price, it's $45. I'm rounding up by a penny because I'm insane in the membrane. I'm insane in the brain. So, let me go for the description, okay? Decepticons Forever. In celebration of 25 years of the iconic Beast Wars Transformers animated series, fans can add this 2-pack of their collection, to their collection, featuring the classic Predacon / Decepticon Jaguar Ravage ! Ravage may have been reformatted into a Predacon, but after watching a secret message from his long-dead Decepticon leader, he realizes where his allegiances lie. This pack is inspired by the scenes where Ravage joins the Predacons, converts into his former mini cassette mode, and leaps into Transwarp Cruiser's tape recorder. This pack also includes a 5.5-inch deluxe Covert Agent Ravage figure that converts into a Robot Jaguar mode in 20 steps. That's always important. And the 1.5 inches Micromaster Decepticon Forever. I don't know why it's Decepticon Forever. Whatever.
Because he yells
Ravage.
Decepticon Forever.
Yeah, but it's the G1 Ravage.
No, because there's no G1. This is Beast Wars.
Figure that converts from Jaguar to mini cassette in 4 steps.
I mean, if you go, which G1 is it, Andy? Which G1?
It doesn't matter.
Is it Marvel or cartoon?
It's the toy. It doesn't matter. It's the toy.
Because one of them couldn't talk. So why would cartoon Ravage be yelling?
It's the toy. It doesn't matter which one we're talking about. Pose out. Oh, no, it's just a weird... I think there should have been maybe some grammar here. Pose out with 2 pistol weapon accessories and 2 blaster effects, and decorate Decepticons Forever Ravage in cassette mode with the included G1-inspired stickers. Cool. That's not a good thing, by the way. That's sarcastic. Remake the classic Beast Wars Transformers scene with the package art inspired by the computer, blah, blah, blah. Availability exclusively on Hasbro Pulse in the US, Canada, and UK in fall of 2021. So there you go. It's a minor update, but that's how much. That's when it's coming out, Mr. Mikey.
Yeah,
any thoughts on that?
I see Hasbro's photograph department is as talented as ever.
Well, yeah.
What's wrong with his legs, Andy?
Don't worry about it.
I think he's in pain.
Yeah, well, you'd hope so. He's a villain, I guess.
That's what you get for being a Russian.
Not desperately engaging, but it's not like there are any better toy photographers out there on the internet that they could get.
No, everyone still remains excessively excited about this.
I can see why.
I think
it makes
looks
sense.
Good. I think it looks like I would rather get this than Cheetor if I was buying a retail toy.
Oh yeah, I would agree. I get why it's an exclusive as well, though. To be fair.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah. Even though it looks cooler, and I think kids would probably like this more than the Cheetor.
Oh yeah,
maybe. I don't know. I don't know what kids like. There was also images, at least for the pre-order, of Shattered Glass Jetfire. We see him in his packaging, we see the robot mode, we see the jet mode, we see the extra bits of armor, and he comes with some blast effect parts. Mikey, I would say this is a generic color scheme, but implemented fairly well. I think he should have had a new face design, as he just has the normal Jetfire face. Or, I think they should have given him a really sinister helmet design, instead of just the Jetfire or Skyfire helmet design. What do you think?
I was pretty unexcited when I saw him, because essentially there's no change to the deco or color layout.
No.
Or no retooling, and it's really quite I would say, like, you could say it's competently executed because the original color layout was fine. Not necessarily because it works well. I mean, it works better in vehicle mode because there's that big purple block on the back. But the base robot mode is just a void of interest for me.
I can see that. Do you think he needs more purple on him to spice him up?
More purple and more of the green. I think the armor mode.
Yes.
The armor mode looks better. They've got a purple. The helmet's got more. The green eyes, the green and the purple in the eyes and the chest all bring out a lot more of the figure, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And adding on the extra weapons and such. Like the main figure is just kind of blasé, in my opinion. I find a lot of people get excited about this. I feel like that might just be another chance to get this figure. Apparently he'll keep the Decepticon Autobot emblem switch thing, except he'll have a red Decepticon emblem. But yeah, he's not exciting to me, I'm afraid. Maybe his comic will be interesting if it's about like a conflicted dude. I don't know. We new talent on the comics. I can't judge yet, but yeah, it's just kind of
like I think if you put this up against Blur, I think you can see which one's more interesting visually to look at.
Absolutely.
Again, because of the face. I think that you could have done, like I said, I think giving him a new head. I think giving each of these guys new heads would have been a wise idea, just because it changes the personality completely.
Yeah,
and granted, a lot of them have like neutral faces to begin with, but if you're selling this as an online thing only, which they are, I think you should put a little bit into like making them distinct characters, and facial expressions is clearly the easiest way to go about it.
Yeah, I would say he is better than Bumblebee.
Yes, because Bumblebee's so disappointing.
Yeah, but I think like Blur gets has a good color layout and a brand new head that works really well. Megatron has an okay color layout, but has new parts, so they are adding something new to the figure.
Yeah.
Bumblebee has a new head, but it's remarkably unexciting. I'd also say he's better than Starscream, because Starscream's just a straight repaint.
Yeah, he didn't have anything done to it, did he?
No.
No.
Like, so he'd be the middle of the pack?
Yeah, I'd put him like slightly below Megatron.
Yeah.
But obviously above Starscream and Bumblebee.
Yeah, but middle of the pack and not like a victorious, like, oh, you've fought your way up there, just like other people fought their way down.
Yeah, yeah, they fell down the stairs. You managed to not. You stayed on the stair. Yeah, I feel that the Shattered Glass line that they're doing here, there could have been more done with it. I get why there hasn't been, but it feels like with the push that they're going for, with the special boxes and everything like that, I definitely would have liked to have seen a bit more. I'm not sure if that was viable or not from a business standpoint. I'm guessing it probably wasn't.
I don't know. Like, even, I think it's something for me is the character selection.
That too.
Because, like, obviously they're very clearly limited to primarily siege mode. Like, they've got one Earthrise figure in there.
I wonder why they're limited to siege, because it's like...
maybe production time, to be honest, would be my thought.
You think so? But they used Studio Series Blur. So they could get the Studio Series 86 stuff.
That's true.
I'm not saying they had to use, like, Cup or Hot Rod, even though I think we both said last time Hot Rod would have been the better choice for Bumblebee, to be fair, but...
Yeah, and they did, I mean, like, you could also argue, well, they did Optimus and Ratchet, so, but...
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah, but, so, like, they have been using Earthrise molds in this, but I'm just sort of... I wouldn't have gone with... Maybe because they went with Megatron because it was the easier one to turn into the Cybertronian mode, but I like...
And you're gonna do Megatron because he's the leader of the good guys for the thing, so again, that makes sense.
I'm just looking through Siege right now and seeing, like, what molds could they have used that would have been more interesting.
be pleased they didn't do Soundwave, because that's just a bad toy to begin with.
Yeah, white version of that. Like, that would be your clean version as well. Like, Barricade, I think, the Barricade Prowl mode, I think, would have been more interesting.
What does Barricade turn into? Like, do we have a Shattered Glass Barricade?
No, well, like, you do have... I think you have a Shattered Glass Prowl, so, and it's the same mold. But I'm just, like... Impactor, again, would have been interesting. Mirage, they kind of did, by accident. Yeah. But, like, Barricade... Like, the thing is, we don't have a Shattered Glass Barricade, but we could.
Yeah, you could make him really interesting colors. As like the bad way to do Barricade is just make him Prowl colors.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Or like, wouldn't do that.
They're not amazing molds, but like six gun or like Skytread, I think would be interesting.
Oh, okay.
There's also like stuff like Battle Trap and everything else in there, but like I'm just like Springer. Yeah. There's another one that might have been interesting to do in Shattered Glass.
Yeah. I don't think we've had Springer as Shattered Glass before either.
No, but you know who I would have loved? Shockwave. Mm-hmm. Get another use out of that Shockwave mold.
And give him like a proper face, because in that universe he maybe wasn't eyed.
Or you could do like again, it's not an ideal one, but the Galaxy Convoy version of Optimus.
Okay.
Might be one to add in as like, and this is Optimus when he's like, flips his lid.
Okay.
Like, I think you had plenty of more interesting figures than Jetfire.
Yeah.
Like...
Oh, could you do, like, Galaxy Force Prime into, like, a good version of the Fallen, potentially?
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Like a heroic version.
Mm. That would be interesting. Eggface is in there as well, and don't know... was that a good enough toy? I don't remember. You had it.
I think no, I didn't get that one because I heard they did some weird thing with the white plastic, so it's kind of gross on it. I still would like to pick it up because I don't think they're ever going to make a good version of him, unfortunately.
Oh wow, Shattered Glass Shockwave's colors.
What are they? Is it not Six Shot from Energon?
No.
Oh, that's a shame.
No, it's kind of like Six Shot would be how I describe it.
Oh, okay.
But like, colors are based on what they saw as the opposite of Shockwave's colors, which is basically military camo Shockwave.
Oh, okay.
Which could kind of work.
I put it in. It hasn't really shown me anything apart from like a red and blue Shockwave.
It's sort of it's like Six Shot without all the purple highlights and with like a lot more grey.
That doesn't sound terrible. Well, I mean, I like the idea of that.
And a bit of blue, but I wouldn't mind it, like, if he had the armor up one. But, like, it's just weird, and I like weird,
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Also,
that's why the worst Shattered Glass ones are the boring coloured ones. It's just standard.
Yep, what if it was opposite day?
Yeah, pretty much. What if I had Skywarp's colours, or what if I was just black for the most part, because I'm white generally?
Yeah, what if we wanted to reuse a black repaint of Jetfire? Well, like, that was one of the big problems of the Shattered Glass line for this kind of adaptation, actually, because a lot of those color schemes were just based on what toy doesn't have fiction.
Yes. And again, like, Shattered Glass came out of Fun Pub, and it makes sense why you could maybe say some of the ideas for the color schemes from there was a bit half-baked, because it was just not to massively shit on BotCon, it was just a fan-run convention thing. It was one of the biggest ones, It was the biggest one for Transformers, I should say, but still,
it was one that worked with those licenses, but they didn't have, like, apart from a few rare times, I believe, they didn't have, like, full-on designers in.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. This is this is basically the dark sky. I thought it was the dark Skyfire color scheme from the classics mold for Japan, the Gentai Gentai.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will say it's a little bit more interesting because they've got like a bit of extra armor on it. But
sure.
I don't know. I don't want to be negative because like I am all for weird repaints and everything else. This is just like.
I think that's the problem. It's not that weird.
Yeah. Like,
at least for us,
I would almost have taken Hot Rod colored Cyclonus over this.
Oh no! The only way I would accept that is the problem with that version that Hasbro. It was Hasbro that did that, wasn't it? Or was it FunPub?
FunPub.
The only way the problem with that color scheme is they didn't lean into it enough. There were no fire effects on it.
Yeah.
If they put fire effects onto it, I think it would have worked a lot better than it did.
I agree.
The problem was that it was just red, orange, and grey, and it's like, well, that's lame. Where the fire effects?
the jazz, the jazz that's basically just Ricochet.
Yes,
that would work. I mean, that toy maybe not, but I've always liked that color scheme on him.
Oh, the Ricochet color schemes are great. Yeah, it's always been a good one. I think maybe they wouldn't do that just because Ricochet is Ricochet.
Yeah, I'm really surprised they didn't do Hot Rod.
Yeah, same.
That's like the Shattered Glass color scheme.
Yeah, just black with mustache face. Maybe it's again because they'd have to remold, or maybe the Hot Rod toy was out too soon. I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? It's weird. Not the best, but it'd be interesting. Would you be wanting to see more Shattered Glass from them in the future? This is all dependent on the sales, of course, more so than anything else. If they will do it.
Again, like part of it for me is the fiction. How does the fiction stand up? If they wanted to and they could, like Sideswipe could be interesting.
What did they do for Sideswipe?
He was a repaint of Shattered Glass. He was repaint of Armada Wheeljack.
Yeah, that's right.
And he was kind of green and blue. That could be interesting. And like original, like you could do Shattered Glass of any character really, and I as long as it was an interesting take. If they could get some legs under it with some fiction, that would be good. But for me, it's like, it would really depend on what designs they went with.
Yeah.
Like, because one of the problems of doing really G1 is that if you are sticking to the original Shattered Glass versions, like, you do not actually have that much flexibility in terms of, like, what to use.
I suppose that's one of the things they'd want to do, though, to not go too outside the wheelhouse, just so they could use those molds. Because I mean, we are just sticking with G1 at the moment, which have lamented about many a time. But I guess for them, if they're doing Shattered Glass stuff, it's easy pickings then, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a weird thing.
Mikey, do you want to move us on to our last bit of news for the week, sir?
Yeah, TF Nation, they're having the big broadcast 2021 next month on Twitch and TF Nation Live, which is tfnation.com/live. And this is going to be their online panel, online event. And an interesting one here, they have confirmed that they are going to have a Transformers Prime panel. Celebrating the 10th anniversary of the series release in the UK, involving pretty much for everyone involved bar Mergrid.
Okay.
So we've got Jeff Klein, Nicole DeBook, Marsha Griffin, Joe Kerr, Stephen Melchin, and Dwayne Capizzi, and these are like a lot of very big names from the Prime days. A lot of them went on to work on RID, but I think they all moved aside with the switch to Boulder Media. Was Jeff Klein the showrunner? Jeff Klein was the showrunner. Nicole DeBook, I know she did a lot of writing for the show. Same with Marsha Griffin. Like, these are creative, like no voice actors, no actor types in here.
Right.
I'm just double checking. Nicole DeBook was one of the main writers. Marsha. Why is it always Marsha?
That's just how it is, bro.
Yep. Writing team. These are primarily writers for the show. So I think that's pretty interesting, actually. I'll probably try. I wasn't planning to tune in for the big broadcast, but I might actually turn up for that one. Because it's Prime. I love Prime. I think it's a fantastic show. A decade on, and I don't think it's been matched.
No.
as I actually say for a fair few shows from that era. But
it did have movie money funding it, I suppose, didn't it?
Yep. But yeah, no, I'll be curious about this one. Andy, what's your take on this?
It's interesting. I like to hear the creatives talk about their work and whatnot, especially the writing aspect and the directing aspect of stuff. So yeah, hopefully it should be good. Hopefully they'll get some good questions and, more importantly, some good answers out of them.
I would really emphasize, please have good questions, because if they do a submit questions thing for this and don't have pre-prepared questions by the staff, I think it would be really good to check out TF Wiki, check out the trivia pages on your favorite episodes and the ones you're most interested in knowing about, are the ones for the characters, and confirming that no one's asked, that you're not just repeating something that we could all find out a million times over somewhere else, because rare opportunity, take advantage of it as best you can. Try and get some new information. That is something to add to the experience. Like, why Knockout won't answer my phone calls when I'm asking why he's not in the toy line?
I thought you were going to say, get them to answer questions which we can add to the wiki.
Oh God, when was that? I think the last time I edited the wiki was 2014.
Oof.
So it's been a while.
Damn.
Because I remember when the wiki started, when it was on Wikia. And
oh my God.
I was like, stupidly excited about it for like a year, and I don't know, and then I outgrew it, to be blunt. I just use it as a reference now.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, but no, I think that's really cool.
Sweet. That's all the news we have for this week. Mikey, what have you been up to this week? What have you done for fun?
Oh, dear. Well, the big one I won't actually delve into too much because we did a show on it. But I am now up to date on Fate Grand Order animated materials, or at least partly up to date. I need to finish that version.
Which version, Mikey?
The Let's All Learn to Read Manga version, or whatever the it's called, which involves Satan.
Have you seen much of it so far?
A few episodes that she's a monster.
Yes.
And her and Mash are clearly boning.
Yeah, well, there's something happening. I don't think Mash is consenting to it.
Like, I don't know. That first one I saw, she seemed pretty pleased.
Maybe.
But yeah, so Fate Grand Order, I watched all of Fate Grand Order Babylonia, the anime adaptation of the 7th arc in the game. And yeah, I will go into it deeper in the woo-woo, so if you really want to hear my opinion on it, give me money. But for all of you who aren't on Patreon and want a non-spoilery review, I haven't felt this positive on the show since ReZero.
Yeah.
It was an excellent experience. I can't comment on whether or not it will work for you if you're into Fate already and haven't seen it. I understand at least one very, very prominent character is portrayed a wee bit differently than he is in other versions of the medium.
But yet it makes sense.
Yep, and he is one of the best characters in it as well. But it's dramatic. The animation is fucking amazing. Mm-hmm. You may not, you will have like those moments where you're going like, I'm not crying, you're crying. Shut up. My favorite character is Quetzalcoatl. She is fantastic. I think they do a really good job of fleshing out Fujimaru, the protagonist character, in almost a Persona 4 animation kind of way. Like, not that level of brilliance to create this weird hybrid of serious and crazy, which is one of my favorite things about that anime. But I think it was a really good approach to it. So yeah, I would say if you want to watch a good, dramatic, fairly funny, at times very tragic, incredibly well animated show, Grand Order Babylonia should be absolutely on your list. It's absolutely stellar. I was thinking the last couple of days, did I have any real complaints? Not really. Like,
that's good.
My complaint is I want them to adapt more of that stuff, but you keep telling me like no, Grand Order is like Babylonia is where they figured out what they were doing.
Yeah, like I said, they should have done a proper story for Camelot, but they made that into movies for some reason. That's why we need to just move on and just go into Lost Belt. Just do that.
But yeah, and I will say Camelot, like, it's a big step up from First Order, but that's a low bar. And it's so clearly massively compressed. So yeah, and then I watched the Grand Carnival season 1. which is a 1-episode an anthology
One
thing.
season.
What it's a 1-episode anthology
Season.
thing. Episode
It's
anthology
officially called
episode.
it's like when I say season, I'm not joking. They officially call it a season.
I know.
Even if it's 1 episode, it's stupid. It makes no fucking sense.
Which is like a wild, wacky comedy where the main protagonist is the female version of the protagonist, and she's a monster.
Mm-hmm.
What's her name again?
Gudiko,
thank you. Gudiko, who is trying to basically sacrifice everyone who's not super powerful except her horse, because it's her horse now. Shut up.
Yeah.
But yeah, the manga one is like a weird chibi anthology show of evil.
It's a meta commentary on the players of the game.
On like very specific types of players as well.
Yes.
Not the fun kind. Like, I'm fairly certain the male protagonist in that is very much a commentary on everyone who's, like, lusting very heavily on the female characters.
And Astolfo.
Yeah. I would say, like, it's not... It looks like it's for, like, young children. If you have young children and are watching this, please ask them to leave the room.
Be weird to get them to watch a small anime series very specifically about a gacha game.
I could believe it because, hey, look at all those animes that are very specifically about other games for kids.
Yes, maybe.
And like it looks like it should be for young kids. It really does.
Did you like Gudiko wearing the giant hat, being super buff, and having all level 10 servants around her bond level?
I don't like Gudiko. the Nendroid, like, when I thought it was a Nendroid of the female protagonist, I was just like, they're gonna have put in a Gudiko face, aren't they? And they did.
Yeah.
And then they did 2 mashes, and one of them comes with a Gudiko like reaction face.
Yeah, they give the Gudiko Nendroid like specifically overly long arms as well to do the face stroking.
Yeah, which means that, like, the thing is, Gudiko's proportions are pretty much identical to a Nendroid's.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like you can get a show accurate version of her.
Yeah, pretty much.
And she's a monster.
Mm-hmm.
She's awful.
It's the only version of the figure that's worthwhile getting. You don't want to get the Figma version of her.
No, she just looks normal and supportive.
Exactly. No, you want the monster.
Yeah. So if you want to hear my full thoughts on Grand Order, please check out that show, and please check out Grand Order. Kobayashi Dragon Maid Season 2, Episode 2 was out, and that was, again, fun. Again, has moments where I keep forgetting that this show is supposed to be a comedy. Why is the animation that good? It was funny, bit of a gag at the start, bit of a more serious in the center, gag at the end again. I'm really glad it came back, and I'm really glad it came back and doesn't feel like there's been a drop in quality. Like, if you liked Season 1 of Dragon Maid, you'll like this. Some ways I think you might like it more. But, so that's really good. On the flip side, episode, I want to say 3 of Villainous came out as well this week. And I can see why people didn't like that the visual novel, or the light novel, got extended. Because it's just sort of moved into a rather typical everyone's in love with the protagonist story. Except because the original run of the story very much had an ending before the publishers came along and said, we will pay you money to continue making this. It's really obvious to me, like, okay, now I just have to think of stuff to keep it going. And it can work, and I don't think it's terrible or anything, but like the genius of the first season and the tightness of the story and the script and the character development of everything else is just not there. And that's a bit of a shame. I might give it 2 or 3 more episodes to see if, like, maybe it's like starters orders kind of thing, but it's just a little... I will say it's a little disappointing, but I'm glad I went in knowing the circumstances of this extension of the story.
Sure, yeah.
So I am okay with it being not great because I still have the original season, which is gold. Absolute gold.
It still has time to pick up, I suppose, so doesn't it?
Yeah. And maybe, like, okay, we'll do a season 3, and that's when they got good again. I don't, But I'll just say, like, definitely watch season 1. I highly, highly recommend it to anyone who has any kind of sense of humor. Season 2, I'm not excited for it. An anime thing, I started rewatching Bakemonogatari. So I'm going to do a big catch for my like catch up period. I'm going to do a big catch up on all the Monogatari stuff I missed, and then I realized that stuff is so complicated I better watch from the start. So I've got the first couple of arcs done, and I think what's the next one? The next one is the monkey one, I believe. So I'm looking forward to that. Still a great show, still a wonderful show. Also not something you show to your kids because they don't need to see you swung around by someone's intestines. Gaming wise, started playing Prey, which is a 2017 horror sci-fi FPS
on the space station.
Yeah. I'm really into the world. I'm really into the world.
It's very Bioshocky kind of.
Yeah, it's clearly got a lot of influence, but I think they do a good job of giving it its own identity. And the gameplay is fairly solid. It's one of those like power upgrade ones. And yeah, there's an interesting start. There's some vaguely interesting human characters. They seem to be hinting at a reason why you have a silent protagonist, which I ain't got as long as it's like narratively done, okay. I still wish silent protagonists would go the way of the dinosaur, but I'm never getting that. I'm not hugely into it, but yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. And yeah, I started playing the Arc Genesis 2 expansion.
Oh, I saw you mention that on Twitter today.
Yeah, so
is it a new one or is it an update?
Came out in the last month.
Okay.
It's the final official expansion pack. There's going to be a couple of like formerly fan-made turned official expansion islands coming out in the next couple of years. They've already announced one. I think it's called Lost Islands. But this is the final story map. So it's basically 2 huge maps you can walk between. And it's very different in ways. It's very much intended for people who are at the end of their Arc experience, or they've played all the other ones. They've unlocked the different like post-boss upgrades and stuff like that. I was playing it fresh with a new character, which means I'm getting end-tier equipment like in my first loot crate.
Okay.
So it doesn't feel like as challenging as a lot of arcs. Also, the fact you start off with essentially a weaker but infinite version of your final armor.
Right.
Like, that is your starter thing. So you can fly infinitely, you've got a super punch, you can see in the dark. So there's a lot of the challenge, certainly for the PvE, I'm sure for PvP, it's still, like, isn't there, but it is enjoyable. It's not like, okay, like, the challenge is gone, but, like, they've introduced a lot of taming mechanics and new weapons and stuff that are fun. And the new dinosaurs are also all fun, the new mounts. Most of them work really well. There's one that you can use to take over other people and other animals and go weird with. And there's a lot of there's some like creative designs. Unfortunately, it has some notable flaws. One, very little map variety.
How many maps do you get, do you know?
You get 2, basically, like I said, it's 2 rings of a spaceship. So one ring is like perfect serene and the other one is corrupted.
Are they big to make up for it? Or
huge, absolutely huge.
Like
either
too
one
big.
Either one of them, I would say, is as big as like one of the bigger maps from before, like Crystal Isles or Ragnarok. The problem is there's no variety of environments in these. We don't have, like, because in the other one you had desert, ice, underwater was a big one, mangrove swamps, cherry blossom area, stuff like that. Here you have a big green field with hills, and there's an underground ocean if you know where to look.
Right.
And in the other one, there's essentially the same, except no ocean. It's all kind of evil. And in the north, it's rather flat, and in the south, it's more of a valley.
Wow.
And that's really disappointing, because map design was a big thing for Arc. Like, a big positive for it. Like, they put so much work into them. Some of the new taming systems, while most of them are fun, some of them are rather tedious. There's also the game is now feels structured like you've come into this with like 20 tames from previous runs, or 200 tames from previous runs, or whatever. So you don't need to tame all these old dinos again. However, if you tame these 2 dinos, you will basically have a better version of everything you had before.
Oh, okay.
And these are based around a mission structure, which are mission ones. The missions are garbage if you're playing single player, because they are not beatable.
Oh, they're designed for multiplayer only.
Absolutely. Apart from 2 or 3. Like, there's a gauntlet one. You cannot complete on single player without using cheats.
I hate it when they lock you out of stuff because you don't have friends.
But
like
overall, it's not terrible.
Right.
And it's actually good. It is actually good. And I was enjoying it up until the 15th crash.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I don't know.
That's a lot. How was it up to crash 15 is what your breaking point was?
Well, crash 15 was when I just beaten the boss and it crashed.
I would have been out way before crash 15.
And like it wasn't crashing at all, right? And then it suddenly hit a point where like I was like it would start crashing every 15 to 20 minutes.
Oh.
And I uninstalled things, I reinstalled things, I looked up if there was a problem and no one else was reporting it. But then I realized no one's reporting the PS4 issues. It's
what
like
do you mean?
most of the discussions about PC.
Oh, right, yeah, probably no one plays it on PlayStation.
No, the thing is,
PlayStation
PlayStation, very active, but like it's a very active PlayStation community, but they don't get as much recognition on the forums and stuff.
Interesting, okay.
Like, so they don't get, like, if they report bugs, it's just kind of like general bugs are handled more often. Like, I was told, like, older maps have bugs from 2 or 3 years ago that were solved in the PC version and just were never, like, modded in the PS4 version. Not only that, but there's a transfer option that's always been in ARK. Like, okay, this is your favorite tame, it's the right color, it's the right dinosaur, you got lucky with something. And, okay, you can transfer that to any other map, right? So I had them from a map called Aberration. And I was transferring them over, game crashed. Went back to go, oh, fuck it, alright, I'll try again. It had erased every single tame from my Aberration map.
Bummer.
That was 50 tames. Including, like, this really cool rock dragon thing in a really good color. That I was I really fucking frustrated about. And I think it was, like, the day before, I had a plan on how I was going to play Genesis, and you've completely derailed it because I can't trust the game to play. And I'm kind of like, I do want to play Lost Island when it comes out because it probably won't have as many issues because it's just on a more basic build.
Yeah.
But you literally wiped out my progress because your game won't stop crashing on me. And I can't complete the game because the game keeps crashing on me.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel done with it.
I'm not surprised. That's a lot of progress to be stolen from you, effectively, through no fault of your own.
Yeah, and I went from like really positive to really negative about 2 hours.
I'm not surprised.
And yeah, so it's disappointing. But listen, I'm not one of those people who's got like 4,000 hours dedicated to ARK since it came out in alpha, and like will play. Like, I want to play ARK 2 when it comes out, obviously. Like, I'll be interested to see what that is. I might even try, like, for online first and that, if I could find some people in the Palo community who are playing and get something going. But yeah, that was a really bad last impression. For want of a better term. Yeah, that was me, really, Andy. What about you?
What have I been doing? I got the Streets of Rage 4 upgrade DLC, which is Mr. X's Nightmare. It adds in 3 new characters, or makes them playable characters, I should say. Puts in Estella, the new lady police officer. Puts in Shiva, the boss from many a Streets of Rage game. And it lets you play Max as well. It also gives you survival mode, which allows you to get new moves for all of the characters, which is pretty swanky. And you also get a load of new weapons as well in that mode. And I think you also got Mania Plus, which is the hardest. It's like the newest hardest difficulty, which is pretty nutty. So I played a bit of that. It's still hella fun and surprising. Yeah, I really like Streets of Rage 4. If you haven't given it a go, you should. It's a lot of fun. Very well animated. Looks very pretty. I'm trucking on with The Witcher 3. I'll be doing that as well tonight on stream when we finish pooping.
How far are you? What's the most recent thing?
I've met the red-haired girl in the city.
Oh, you're in the place that hates witches.
Yes, yeah. Where it's got the guy with the weird face who's like, "Oh, I'm gonna keep my eye on you, there, Witcher.
I'm gonna keep my eye on you, mate."
Yeah, I've literally. Is it Triss? Is that her name? Triss?
Yes, she was a controversial figure.
Okay, she's got a very, very, very American accent, which is very compared to everybody else who's very like British in their accents. To hear this one random American's just like, this is weird. Yeah, I'm just doing missions for her. I picked up some stuff off the bottom of a stinky lake for her or something like that in the center of the town. So that's the last thing I got up to. I saved Robert Baratheon's wife, who's gone insane. So he's taken her off to the mountains to maybe heal her in the future. Because I didn't like the fact that my first time through, Robert Baratheon killed himself. I was like, nope.
Oh, I only got the murder one, so
the murder one.
Yeah,
yeah.
Or suicide one, he did.
Yeah, no, I was like, no, I don't care for these orphans, so they can be eaten by the witches, because it's not shown, but it's implied.
Oh no, it's not implied. Like if you, it's full on confirmed in the other run. Like they eat them.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, yeah, but in that run they don't say that they're eating them. They just say they're in a good place. It's like probably
my belly,
probably eating them. Yeah, but I was like, no, because I felt really bad seeing Robert Baratheon hanging from a tree. I was like, oh, like he was trying to turn his life around. Oh. So I wanted to change that right. So she lost her mind. I was like, oh, that's fine. I didn't really care for her. I just wanted Robert to be alive. So he went off on his own. I was like, yeah, lads. No, it's still fun. I'd still say the combat is kind of meh. And I don't think that's ever going to change at this point. I have found that Quen's very good, though. I threw on my shield, now it explodes when it pops, and it's like, wow, that's really useful.
I became, like, that was my standard spell.
Yeah, it's weird, because you would have thought,
like,
fire's the way. It's like, no, fire's not really
like,
good.
Fire is your best offensive option when you need to push people back, but Quen, especially with something where combos and stuff are combos, like, dodging is such an important thing.
And dodging is still a pain in the ass to do, just because of the camera.
So, like, once Quen can knock him back, apart from some bosses or groups, like, fire is very good for groups.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
But Quen is, like, it's one of those moments where the basic ability is just, like, broken.
I looked online, and it basically said that all the fire upgrades are kind of shitty as well.
Yeah.
Like, that's interesting.
I mean, it's kind of fun to, like, one of the fire ones is basically just shoot fire out of your hands. Like a stream of fire, which would be really good if you didn't freeze in place.
Oh, no.
So you become terrible. A turret in a game where you have to dodge.
Yeah, no, that's terrible. I can't think of one situation where that would be useful. How long's the stream?
10, 15?
That's not that far. They're going to get to you real quick. Like, all the enemies get to you real fast.
If you're in a group, do not try.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a bad call. I also got the Griffin set armor or something like that. One of the early green set armors that you can pick up by finding it. That seems to be quite nice. Apparently you can upgrade it as well.
Yeah, so you can upgrade all of them.
There are, well, you mean the special Witcher ones rather than the all armor.
You can always add stuff to all the armors.
Yeah. You mean like runes and stuff, don't you?
Yeah. I didn't do a lot of those. Because I was happy enough with the armor I had, so I didn't do a lot of chasing down those armors.
I'm just doing every quest I can. Also, I really dislike how slow the level grind is.
Yeah, it also has a very surprisingly early cap.
What you mean?
Well, the level grind is slow because essentially you're going... The way it really functions is that you have 30 levels, basically. However... It functions as 100 levels, which means you're actually got really slow level ups with like some jumps, some pretty significant jumps from level 1 to level 2 to level 2 to level 3.
It does feel like all of the enemies you fight are negated by the XP you get from just doing story quests, and when you do story quests, you get a crap ton of XP, and it's like you say, I guess, here's the XP, now you're allowed to be a level up higher, and now you can go and fight these skulls, which are impossible to beat, even if they don't have regen, because you do 0 damage to them, and they one-shot you.
Yeah.
Stupid.
It is absolutely a game where you cannot avoid side quests.
Yeah, no, it really wants you to do them. And they're alright, some of them.
If you want to try that and then I'll try the DLC, do not even blink. The DLC is introduces a new level cap, which I think goes up to level 60.
Oh, okay, right.
So there are monsters. Like the strongest monster you fight in the main game is a griffin, which is level 30-ish, I think. Level 30, 35 or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm seeing like 20s at the moment here and there, so it's not actually too much higher, I suppose.
Yeah. Whereas like in the DLC, you've got stuff in level 50, level 55, level 60.
I've also decided to avoid Gwent because I played one round of Gwent and
it's
hated
terrible.
it.
I've seen people like praise that game so much.
Some people love Gwent. They made an entire offshoot game of Gwent, and I was like, what the fuck is this? It's not even like Yu-Gi-Oh has better rules than this shit.
Yeah, it's so boring.
If they said, yo, if you don't win this, we'll send you to the Shadow Realm. Here's my Blue Eyes White Dragon. I'd be like, oh, I'm in. Let's play. Give me the fucking pot of greed, bitch. But it's not. It's this like, you have 3 fields. You put down cards in the fields, and if you win, but you can lose because you only have 10 cards max.
Yep.
And you need to make sure you don't use all of your cards, and they use all of theirs. And it's like, this is boring.
And
Triple Triad's better. Triple Triad Final Fantasy VIII is better.
Yeah, no, because that had like thought put into it.
There's way more strategy in Triple Triad, and there's way more you can do, and it's not as dull. It's not as boring, and this is boring.
I'm just gonna say, card art is dull as well.
It's super standard. It's just man with stick.
I know you can get like character cards and stuff, but
that's still boring as well.
I don't want to play the game enough to get character cards.
No.
You do. It's not interesting enough to go for character cards.
It's annoying that there's like there's achievements that are locked to that, and then there's like specific side quests which are like there's a tournament arc going on, or there's collect the specific Gwent cards. I'm like, I don't want to do this. Go away.
No, I ended up with like an entire like list of side quests I'd never finish because of that.
Yeah, it's like ugh. I wonder how many like decent side quests that are built around like Gwent there are. Hopefully none.
None, as far as I couldn't find any, and I couldn't I couldn't do most of them because my Gwent wasn't developed.
Right. Okay.
And like,
were they like, do you even Gwent, bro?
But it was always funny to me when it's just like, you look like you've got skill in the game, and I'm just like, oh, sir, you are not paying attention.
I did randomly find some people praying to a wooden statue, and underneath the ground was a very tubby demon dude.
Oh, I remember him.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not going to kill you. And then I told the villagers, like, maybe, did you know there was a cellar down there? And they were like, you what? And I was like, I don't know, maybe check it out. And I was like,
I think I did the same thing.
In my head, as soon as I did that, I was like, okay, so one of two things is going to happen. They're going to die or it's going to die. I was like, maybe I should have, I don't know. I'm not sure what the good answer was there, because it's like he was taking advantage of them. He was kind of an asshole. And the villagers were stupid and still felt like they kind of needed the religion to keep them happy. But at the same time, I'm also like, fuck the fire of the flame, which is totally not a... Which one's the rip-off? Is it the guys from Game of Thrones who ripped them off, or is it them that ripped the Game of Thrones guys off? Because it feels like the same thing, pretty much.
It's difficult to actually judge that. No, because the Witcher books are... Because it's all based off the... Theoretically, it's all based off the books. No, actually, this isn't.
What's that? The Fire Church thing?
No, Witcher 3 is not... The Witcher games are the sequel to the books.
Okay.
So, this would be original material, which means they would have ripped it off from Game of Thrones.
Nice. Cool.
And even then, I think Witcher books came out after Game of Thrones books, so they would also have ripped off. But
fair enough. If it's not a rip-off, it's so close that it feels like a rip-off. It's the same religion. We bow to the flame. We kiss the flame's toes. We simp we simp the flame.
Love fire will travel.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, but no, it's still enjoyable. I like the side stories, but I get really annoyed when I make a decision and like in a later quest it backfires. Like I did the quest where it's like, you go to the island and you go to this tower and it's full of rats. You see the spooky ghost and it's just like, take my bones back to my boyfriend and everything will be okay. I was like, oh, well, fair enough. That seems
I remember that
reasonable. And then I take the bones back and he's like, oh, I'm so sad that she died, because she made it out like he left her to die. Quite a bad way. And you're like, all right, bury these bones and you'll be good, mate. And he's like, oh, thanks, man. And then I leave and I hear it, and I go back in and there's just rats everywhere and the ghost's like, hey, fuck you. I'm like, oh, god damn it. Reload. And then you reload and you do the mission where you bring him to the island and he kisses her and he still dies. Except this time the ghost goes away. It's like, wow, this poor guy who didn't want none of this, who was actually in love with this girl, just gets fucked over either way. And you're like, well, fuck me, I guess.
I think, again, it's going for that, like, dark, that like grim fantasy trope that like Game of Thrones really like. They didn't start, but it normalized. And pretty it's much. Like, hey, there is no good or evil. There is only less bad.
A lot of the time when this stuff happens, like these awful things happen, it feels like Jerry just kind of shrugs and goes, yeah.
Yeah, well,
which makes sense because it's meant to be his character. But it's like, okay, but I should care.
Yeah.
I mean, I do, because I get invested in playing games and I like to have the good ending, but...
And I also, like, I think they could have... Geralt feels a little bit too much like you'll like him if you played the other games at times.
What do you mean the other games? You mean the first one?
Yeah, or, like, it just feels like, hey, we're assuming you're already familiar.
Yeah, that's a massive issue with 3. Even though 3 was we'll make the combat simpler because we know we're going to probably get new people... Which is bizarre. It's like, okay, but you're not going to have, like, a movie at the start to explain what happened? Or you're not just going to have at least a random NPC to be like, so, what have you been up to, Geralt? Let me tell you what's happened in the previous games. You know, because you got that Mass Effect and stuff, don't you? And it's always like the dialogue, which I'm not going to talk to that NPC because it's just the backstory, so I don't need that. But there's none of that. I guess all of these the background material are in like loads of books which I can't be asked to read. It's like, I'm not going to go. But not
even that. Like, it's weird. Like, because I remember hearing that Geralt died, and I was very confused.
What, in 2 or 1 or what?
No, he dies in the end of the books.
Oh, ow!
And
okay.
then book 1, or like he almost dies, and then game 1 is afterwards.
Is this why they talked about randomly he lost his memory?
Yeah, and also like the game's obviously pushing the main love story to be with Claudia Black.
Jennifer, because I refuse to call her Yennefer.
Yeah, I will call her Claudia Black.
That's fair. I mean, it is pretty much.
So, like, that is the primary love interest of the story, right?
Yeah.
Except because of the previous 2 games, they were all their full romance stuff was in the books, from what I understand. The previous 2 games, it's him wandering around and him falling in love with Trish.
Triss, if you want to be...
Trish,
yeah, because it's
whatever
a
name
stupid name as well.
Yeah, Triss. So a lot of people I read were really kind of annoyed at the game wanting you to get with Claudia Black.
Oh, when the previous games have all been about Triss.
Yeah, and like... Because, like, the great romance of Geralt's life is something that's primarily in the books.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people didn't even know existed.
No, I suppose you wouldn't. I was only told that the law choice would be Jennifer.
Yeah.
And I was like, why? And I can't remember if they mentioned in chat, but it was like, apparently that was the law, and now I know. You've told me, thank you.
And I like her better, so I went with her anyway, but... I could see, like, if you were... Because, like, it's one of those things, like, if you reject her... if you reject Claudia Black, it feels really unnatural to me.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
Like, it's one of those game options that's there, but shouldn't be.
Right, yeah. It's there, but it's like making Shepard bad.
Yeah, it's like... Yeah, you can play evil dickhead Shepard who leaves all his friends to die, but only Garrus really likes. Like, you can kill Rex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jesus.
But the story is not really structured for you to kill Rex.
No.
It's there. Now, you could say, like, oh, well, the story continues on, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, not really. It does the same thing, but just like, you fuck yourself over in the long run because... The whole thing is about it. The story is really about you gathering people. You're a unifying force.
Yes, Mass Effect definitely wants you to be the hero. It doesn't want you to be the villain. Like, it wants to be a giant space opera. Hero saves the day, not I'm evil. Like, maybe you could suggest that for 2. But still, even then, like when you play 2, it feels like you're working with the bad organization, but you're the noble soul in it, and everybody around you is still good as well.
Or like 3 is really weird when you try to play.
A mess. Yeah.
3, but you're like, hey, we've got the options where you can be an absolute monster in a game where the entire point is to literally bring everyone together.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you don't, it just goes very badly.
What could go wrong?
Yeah. You have almost no help because you killed people in previous games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's weird.
Oh, odd that.
Sad times. But no, continuing on with which I've still clearly got a very long way to go because it's a big boy game. I did get some models and finish the ones off. I can't remember if I got
I forgot to say I got Deathside.
We can talk about that because I got him and I built
and I
him
got
today.
Technoman, but I haven't built him yet.
Okay. Had I built I had built the end, hadn't I, last time?
You'd started. I
started. Okay, I finished him. It was a pain to cut the fingers up. I actually broke one of the ball joints off the finger.
Oh, not fun.
It was difficult to stick it back on, shall we say. I need to, when you can get it to move up and down, but if you turn it left or right, it starts to feel like it's going to break off again, even glued together. So, bit careful there, but it looks a lot better with the fingers separated a lot, so it is worth doing. You just need to be careful, clearly, while doing it. But the end looks great. It's a great little figure. Has real presence. Still needs the cape, obviously. And it does require either you using the stickers or painting a lot, unfortunately, because that's the end. It's got a lot of colours on it, and unless you were doing a real grade, and even then, I don't know how they could get the end to look right. But it's a good one. It's fancy. The Viat and the Mercurius are primarily the same mold, obviously with a different head and with different weapons. I really like them. They're a great team together. The weapons are a lot of fun. The giant backpack and rail laser gun thing for the blue one. Very cool. Very nice weapon. He can hold it very nicely. And the way that they do the shield bits for the Mercurius, I think it is, the red one, it's very cool. They all clip together very nicely and securely, which I didn't think they'd be able to do. And you get a stand with them, and so you can stick the shields up in like special floaty patterns and all that jazz. But it feels like a better version of the Leo. So if you got the Leo, it is the Leo again, but a more solid version of the Leo, which is nice. The ball, to do the hip joint, the ball joint is actually a polycap, but it's locked into the thigh, like the thigh closes around it, so you're not likely to get the ball joint popping out easily, which is nice. I like that. And in another box I got during this week, I got the Death Scythe, which you got. I got the what's it called? The Marasuro, I think it's called, from Gundam 00.
Marasuro, I don't know that one.
Masuro, that's the one. It's very gangly, shall we say? It's got 2 red beam saber katanas, effectively. It's one that I wanted for a while.
Thing, the one with the funny hat. Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's not bad. The worst thing about it is they decided to do ball cap polycap ball joints for the thighs. Which
not wise.
No, I mean it's from Gundam 00 times. So that was a while ago. They did, I think, to sort it out, if you just tighten it up with some nail polish or some what they call top sealant, whatever you want to call them. It's a great looking figure. It's really unique. It's quite tall as well. It's got a good presence just because it looks so very different from everything else. And it only has 2 stickers. One on the top of the red part to make it orange, and then one shiny red one that kind of goes underneath his, I guess, abdomen stomach thing. Yeah, it could do with a bit of paint. Like if you pull off the red visor thing, it's meant to be the flag face underneath there, so you could put in a little red dot and you could paint it up silver in there if you wanted. But not much paint is actually required or necessary, which is nice. Yeah. What do you think of the Death Scythe?
Simpler than I was expecting.
Yeah, this is your first time, I think, having any of the
wing
AC
ones,
yeah. They're pretty basic, but I think they're really effective for what they do.
Yeah, no, it was a fun build, like just quicker than I'm used to. I had quite a lot of fun doing some photos of it. I like the accessories. I like the hand options. I like it. I'm just not like super blown away. Because I've seen like Mecha Guy Kotsu's review was like, oh my god, this is stunning. But
I mean, I can see why he'd say that because of the minor amount of parts, and it is very accurate to how it should look.
Yes,
and it only comes with like what 1, 2, 3, 4
3
stickers.
3 stickers. And
no, 4. Two
camera
two of them
are
ones.
eyes. Two of them are eyes.
No, there's 2 camera ones. There's the eyes, and then there's the red on the groin. So there's 4.
Yeah, you're right. But I didn't use any. Like, I was pretty easy to paint the eyes in and everything else. He's huge into his, like, I've noticed in his reviews, color correction will like drop marks down so fast with him.
Sure.
But since I paint everything really instead of using stickers, I'm not super bothered by that. But
I think it's important though, because it's like if you've got the color separation, it means that the people who don't want to paint have a great figure. They don't need to do the extra work.
But I like him.
Yeah.
I don't. It's Death Side. It's my favorite one of the other ones. I might consider Sandrock.
Okay.
Or like Altron. I wouldn't mind an Altron.
You'll need to wait for that to come out.
Yeah. I know, like, we know Hell's coming because they've already got a repaint of it in the works.
Yeah.
But I don't particularly care for TV Hell. So, what's your thoughts of it?
No, I really like it. I'd be nice if the head was a little bit higher up, only a minor amount, just so the chin wouldn't get caught on the neck part as much.
Yeah.
But I'd say it's pretty standard for the Gundam Wing figures. So if you like the heavy arms, if you like the Sandrock, it's very much in the same veins as that. It's still very quality. I don't know how I feel about the weird knee joints.
Yeah, there's a locking, like, so that the knee pads lock, but you unlock the knees, it doesn't actually do much.
It gives you a very minor amount of extra movement, but barely any, and it just allows the knee pad to move up for some reason.
Yeah, but then, if you want to straighten the legs out, there's a very clear clicking point.
Yeah.
Which is inside the legs, which is different. Which is, I haven't seen that before.
I'm not sure why that's there. Because, like I said, it doesn't feel like it adds that much more.
I wonder if it's like, for some of it's like a standard for like, some of these would be a bit more top heavy or back heavy. Like, I'm assuming they're going to do a wing. They're going to redo, they're going to do like a revived version of Wing, and that will have a backpack.
I don't know if they'll do a revived version of it, because it's still like pretty new-ish, and they already did the real grade recently.
Yeah, hang on, when was high grade Wing? Because
granted, it was a while ago at this point, but I don't think
6 or 7 years.
I don't think it's old enough for them to justify doing a new one, because it doesn't look like old versus these guys.
2013 that came out.
But does it look old next to these ones?
I could see engineering-wise it'd be like seen as very old.
I think it would be a very long time before you got a new Wing, because clearly they're going to be moving on to doing the season 2 ones, and maybe one day the Tallgeese.
Which is so weird they haven't done a Tallgeese when it's just an actually pretty minor retool of a Leo.
Well, it's just the Viats, the Mercurius as well. I think they've got the same hips for the most part. So.
Yeah, like, but the Tallgeese, like, all you really have to do is change the head, shoulders, backpack.
To be fair, I'd just be telling people, just get the real grade.
It's fair.
It'll just be better anyway.
Although, I will say, I would like a Tallgeese that is more solid.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah, because the hip jetpack things are a bit
the jetpacks
loosey-goosey.
And the verniers at the back are a problem for me.
I can see that. Because yours are loose, aren't they? Yeah, mine are alright, but yeah.
So...
No, that's fair. Yeah, but they'll be moving on to do season 2. We've still got all the Grun suits as well to do, like the Ares and the Tauros, and they're not going to do they won't do the Cancer, because the Cancer was the crappy underwater crab thing, which was shit. So, but I would like
if they do the Tauros, they've got a white repaint of it, I suppose.
Well, that's why I think they should do it, because they could easily sell the Noin one as like a P Bandai exclusive easily.
And they're going into like weird manga stuff as well. So
that's PB stuff. So they don't even need to worry about that. That's like you say, because the The Tauros could be redone into the Tauros from that one, which was purple and yellow and red as well as black. So they could redo it into that as well. So that'd be all right.
Here's a question. I was wondering this yesterday because I was listening to a podcast that was talking about Gundam Wing. What's the original Gundam from Gundam Wing? Because it's not Wing Zero. Because they Gundam
Zero.
No, that Wing Zero is the original from the ones we know.
Oh,
but there's this whole thing about if you see a Gundam, you die, and like Gundams are legendary before we see any. And Wing Zero was never built.
Well, the first, like they say, the granddaddy of all mobile suits was the Tallgeese,
which isn't a Gundam.
No, that's the thing. So it's maybe one of those historical things, I guess.
Yeah, but like I was thinking about it. I was like, that's really weird that we have no idea what the first Gundam, because like there must have been a Gundam and it must have kicked the shit out of everything. Because like it's legendary, which also like how'd you beat it the first time?
If they did, yeah.
Yeah, like where is it now?
It might be in one of those random side stories that we, or manga exclusive stories.
I've looked.
Oh,
there's none.
It's not in there.
Like the prequel stuff is all about like there's a prequel on a previous Tallgeese.
Okay.
Like another Tallgeese model. But there is no information on like that. Like there's just when it comes to Gundams, it's just like sequel Gundams, like the Geminus and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It just struck me, and I was just like, it's weird. It's weird that we're talking about this.
It happens. Also in the pack is the I can't see because it's behind the couch. It's the base Gundam, but it's mainly blue and white. It's got built up and it's got a giant beam sniper rifle.
Like base Gundam as in RX-78 or a different Gundam?
Yeah, it looks like an RX-78. There's a red version of it as well with a Gatling gun. It's from one of the side stories. It's a PB exclusive. I just don't know what it's called.
Trying to... Blue?
Yeah.
Red, like, I've seen a red version, but I never saw one with a Gatling gun.
Yeah, the red one has the Gatling gun, the blue one has the sniper rifle.
I'm gonna check that.
I can find it if you want me to. I thought you might know
because there's been like recent times especially there's been a lot of premium Bandai versions of the RX-78 that have been redone.
Yeah, totally.
Gundam Red Gatling.
There it is. It is the Gundam G04.
Gundam G04
from Side Story. It just says from Side Story.
Okay, so I know.
It's the RX-78 4 Gundam G04.
Oh, this is the unit. Yeah. I've seen pictures of this one before. It's because this is they're like okay, because this is like doing like they're like the F90 doing modular Gundams.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's the red one, which is its twin, which has the Gatling gun.
Kids, this is not like because I originally thought this was the Mark IV before I saw what the Mark IV was.
Yeah, no.
This is like the fourth version of the RX-78.
I guess so, yeah. I got it because it looked really neat.
Yeah.
I like the look of it. I like this giant gun. I haven't started building it yet at all, so I can't really see too much about it. Just that it has a lot of stickers. Mainly for the shield.
Which version of it is it?
What do you mean?
Which mold?
I don't know what the mold is. It might be a P Bandai exclusive mold. I think actually.
None. If it's based off the RX-78, none of the RX-78s are P Bandai.
It's that one.
Okay, so that. Well, no, that's the color. Is that the color scheme? Okay, that looks like the Alex.
It's not the Alex. They haven't done a new Alex. I'm pretty sure it's its own new mold, to be fair. Because P Bandai do have some new molds of it. Recently, they've been doing mold exclusives.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm curious now. You got me thinking. Why would you do this, Andy? You know where this goes.
I don't usually ask you to do this.
You give me a thought. You know how this goes. RX-78 for 2020 P Bandai. It's probably not a new mold because the box was blue.
That doesn't mean anything.
Usually the new mold premium Bandais have standard color boxes.
No, that's not true. Yours with the hand was just a standard grey and white box or something. And that was a new mold.
I don't remember, honestly.
Yeah, that was a grey and white box.
Or am I just thinking of the
box.
F9? Am I just thinking of the F90? I might just be thinking of the F90. I retract my statement.
Okay, good. But yeah, like I say, I've got that, so I've got that to build at some point. That'll be over the week, obviously, and I think that's really been about it. I can't think of anything else apart from the usual. I got to see my buddy Matt this weekend as well, which was fun. I saw him on the hottest day of the year, at least around my area. It was rather warm, didn't like it. We went out for a walk. I got sunburnt, and I have become crispy and red, which was fun. And that's about it. We did the Moonbase Woo Woo, which you mentioned, and yeah, I can't think of anything else. Oh, I did a podcast recording with a Fluff and Hammer. So, Mikey, we do have a massage from Christoph on the Facebook page, which I did have up, but let me get it once again. Now I need to decipher which order these came in, because Facebook doesn't order them desperately well. I think it starts off with this. You guys want to know the weirdest thing about MCP? That's the Marvel Crisis Patrol. It has a tie-in novel. I didn't know that. From the review of it, it sounds like it's the Avengers fighting the Guardians of the Galaxy for 80% of it before teaming up, of course. So it captures the spirit of the game, at least. Oh, fair enough. And Andy, the animation of the last episode was fine, of the spider, I think he means. My fear that came true was that they rushed the plot so they could get to Kumo's final, more marketable form, because they had more than enough material to drag it out for the last half of the season. There was like a whole arc with Shun's team, blah, 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 that they skipped, which, if you have seen the last episode, was kind of an important plot point. And I got more where that came from. Lastly, I'm almost finished with my MCP core minis. Also finished building the Age of Sigmar 3 box. Big step up from the Souls Wars. No gaps in the shoulders. There you go. Okay, and we also got a message from Tentomon. I think this is a reply to a thingy. To one of our things, as it starts off with good review, even if I like the art better in 2002 this must be for the Taskmaster thing. I like the artwork better in 2002 Taskmaster series. That one had the better story. Wonder if the kid on the trike was Gene Fauclout from Avengers Academy. Does that ring a bell?
Fauclout?
Foucault.
I would say not a name I'm familiar with.
No, Avengers Academy, so no good there. Anyway, the story reminded me of MODOK Head Games, which I've never heard of either. Yes, that's sort of tie in to MODOK's show, but it's still set in the 616. How does that work? Well, it starts with MODOK thinking about how he was bullied. Oh, for fuck's sake. Bullied as a kid for having a giant head, and he couldn't...
Wait, hang on. Did MODOK have a giant head as a kid?
Mikey, it's a funny joke thing. Don't question these things.
He said it was tied in.
He went to school.
Well, I'm assuming he did, but I assume MODOK was just a dude back then.
Then he's all like, wait a minute, that's all wrong, and goes on a quest to find out what's going on, while his rivals at AIM tries to use this to get rid of him. Then there's a twist and revelation and more fun moments, like him and Iron Man going underground to the evil tech convention. Fun read recommended. I'm afraid that sounds awful. At least from what I know of current Marvel, that sounds like very current Marvel.
Your opinion matters not.
It sounds like current Marvel, and I hate current Marvel in all iterations, unfortunately.
MODOK Head Games. Nice cover.
Oh, really? Okay, that's good. It can't be as bad as the TV show.
Written by the showrunners of the upcoming animated Marvel.
Oh, yeah, there's no way I'm reading that thing, because that show looks fucking garbage. Fucking garbage. Kill me.
To be fair, you have to read it to know.
That's true. I also have life to live. I know only so many seconds on the world, so I'm told. Mikey, do you have any questions?
I do, but it is absolutely stifling in this room and I need to get out of it.
All right,
well. I'm completely honest. And I want to live.
That's fine.
To live.
Mikey, where can people find you on the internet if you want them to, bitch?
You can find me on Twitter as Irish Paleo, and if you want to send us a message and have it read when it's not the hottest day of the year, the number is themoonbase2@gmail.com, and Patreon, Libsyn, Facebook, all the regular places. Andy, what about you?
You can find me on Twitter and Tumblr, CCTFW. YouTube is Cover Commander TFW. You can find this podcast on Moonbase 2 forums on Twitter, iTunes, Facebook, Libsyn, YouTube as Moonbase 2 Transformers Podcast. You can find me on Twitch as CCTFW, where I do streaming from 11 o'clock in the evening UK time to 2 o'clock in the morning UK time as well. And you can also go to patreon.com/moonbase2 and do $2 each month and get the extended version of From the Files of Teletron 2. You get it a week early. That reminds me, I've got to release the free version this week. And you also get the Moonbase Woo Woo, where we talk about non-transformery things in more detail, such as Fate Grand Order, Absolute Demonic Fortress Babylonia. I think that's the full title. Anyway, that's us done for the day, Mikey. So thank you very much for coming on by, dude.
Thank you. Apparently, regular MODOK's dead and got cloned and has been replaced by a different MODOK.
I guess one MODOK's the same as any other MODOK.
MODOK Superior. I am MODOK, the MODOK that was always meant to be. He has a mohawk.
Oh.
Okay. I fear change.
So until next week, everybody, thank you very much for coming on by, and we'll see you suckers next time.